Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to go over some basic driller builds for tackling Hazard 5. Now, quick disclaimer, a lot of these will work without their overclocks, but I'm going to go ahead and include them with overclocks just to show them at peak performance. And since not a lot of people sharing builds on this platform really say it, please actually read these upgrades as you equip them, as many of them aren't nearly as consequential as you might think they are. So if you don't like the way that it plays for one reason or another, maybe consider tweaking some things around, taking more ammo here, more damage there, or a little bit of range in one area or another. There's a very, very good chance that you aren't going to enjoy these builds the same way that I do, so please actually look at the upgrades you're equipping and make some choices for yourself. That being said, let's look at the way I run these weapons. The general format we're going to go through here is that I'll recommend you a general purpose build for all missions except for sabotage and elimination, and then we'll go over an elimination build. And we're just not going to talk about sabotage. So my general purpose build for the flamethrower is sticky flames. Needless to say, it makes all ground-based bugs have an incredibly hard time getting to you, and it can slow down large bugs long enough for you to complete an objective before they catch up with you, as well as just absolutely ripping through medium to small enemies. And for your direct damage build, we have Face Melter. While it still has the capability to lay down some sticky flames, Face Melter is more about putting your mouse on top of an enemy and holding left click until they're dead. It has incredibly good direct damage, and pretty much anything that you're staring at isn't going to last very long. Aside from enemies with fire resistance, of course. Moving on to the Cryo Cannon, we'll start with Tune Cooler with the Fragile upgrade in Tier 5. I think Cryo Cannon, more than any other weapon in this video, is very influenced by its Tier 5 upgrade between Cold Radiance and Fragile. Fragile is incredibly powerful for dealing with medium health enemies and instantly snapping their health bars off with the Fragile damage proc, as well as also retaining extremely good freezing power for larger enemies, which can be taken out with your secondary weapon or impact axes. For this reason, I think Fragile plays best in solo, as it allows you to deal much more damage while staying on your primary weapon. That being said, Cold Radiance is an excellent upgrade as well, which we'll go into now. Cold Radiance freezes everything around you in periodic pulses while you're holding the fire button. Essentially, you can still apply freezing power to a large enemy or a specific enemy that's threatening you, while also freezing all the bugs that are coming up on your flanks. This essentially makes you immune from all but the largest or ranged enemies while you're holding left click. Additionally, Cold Radiance is extremely useful when focusing on one large enemy, as you can place your Cryo Stream on top of them and get the Cold Radiance pulses to freeze them at the same time. So overall, when it comes to applying the most freezing power possible to a single target, Cold Radiance is the way to go, so take this for Dreadnought missions. However, while you do want Cold Radiance, for the rest of your build you're going to want something a little more damage focused, which takes us to Ice Storm. As well as the other mods to support having a more continuous stream of cryo to get more freezes on Dreadnoughts, we're taking the Ice Storm upgrade, just to milk more damage out, as the Cold Radiance pulses give us more than enough freezing power to work with. Out of all of the weapons, this is my go-to build for dread killing and single target damage. However, it is a lot more ammo hungry than anything else you might do with this weapon. In solo, Ice Storm completely trivializes Dreadnoughts. Now moving on to Sludge Pump. It's definitely the weapon I've spent the least time with on Driller, but overall it's still quite effective. The general purpose build that I'd run is hydrogen ion additive, which increases the strength of the corrosive effect and slowdown done by your direct shots on enemies. Long story short, this is a clean overclock that still allows you to use the charged scatter shots, however it has a greater effect on single targets. So every now and then, throw a single glob onto the larger targets that are threatening you, and then throw out a charge shot to deal with the smaller fodder enemies. It's a very good fire and forget type weapon, as putting that dot on enemies can chip them and hurt them for a long period of time. However, if this is the playstyle you're looking for, I think I'd still recommend Sticky Flames over this. And last but not least for the primaries, we have Sludge Blast. This is in a very close race with Ice Storm for being the best dread killing driller primary. It does an absolutely heinous amount of damage to these dreadnoughts when you catch them point blank, however the ammo economy is even more brutal than Ice Storm, so take it with caution. However, if you get a large enemy at close to mid-range, you can absolutely destroy them with this overclock. So don't underestimate its killing power. And now moving on to the secondaries. Starting with the Sabata, we have Automatic Fire. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave the 5th tier blank on this weapon just because it's so incredibly dependent on what primary you're using. TLDR, if you're using Flamethrower, run Volatile Rounds, and if you aren't, run Macterotoxin Coating. Unless you're doing some extremely wonky stuff with having your gunner proc fire for you for the Volatile Bullets upgrade, I really don't think you should be taking the fire upgrade unless you're running Flamethrower. The Macterotoxin coating isn't always extremely useful, but I mean, it's better than nothing, and if you aren't running fire, the fire upgrade would be nothing. And for our direct damage upgrade, we have Explosive Reload. Similar to the Scout's Zhukov overclock embedded detonators, whenever you fire a bullet into an enemy, it will place an embedded detonator inside of them that will detonate and deal massive damage. These detonators are triggered whenever you press the reload button. Thankfully, there's a nice little icon that will appear on enemies whenever they are ready to be killed by the detonators inside of them, which you can see as the red explosion symbol on their health bar. Definitely not my go-to, but when it comes to Sabata direct damage, I can't think of anything better than this or Automatic Fire. Now for EPC. General purpose wise, I think this build has it all. Heavy hitter massively increases the damage of your normal shots, and you can still retain the mining ability within containment field. This allows you to do some very interwoven combat, weaving in charge shot detonations, while also having extremely high damage normal shots at your disposal at all times. Needless to say, this build pairs incredibly well with Cryo Cannon, as those high damage normal shots will deal some pretty significant damage against frozen enemies, allowing you to finish off frozen Praetorians in no time at all. And now, rather than a direct damage build for the EPC, we're going to go over a mining specialized build. The most TCF explosions you can get is with heat pipe and ammo reduction. I think a much more balanced and effective build is energy rerouting with the charge shot cost reduction in the 3rd tier. This can allow you to do quick TCF mining blasts while also keeping a good amount of ammo. As you can see here, I ripped down this Crassus crater in no time flat, while still having a respectable amount of ammo afterwards, whereas the heavy hitter build would have basically left me on empty, although it would still be equally fast. So that's about it for my mainstay driller weapon builds for Hazard 5. Once again, please tweak these builds a little bit for yourself, and if you don't have the overclocks, try to slot some other ones in and see how they work for you. And let it be said that I'm barely scratching the surface of Haz 5 viable builds with this video, just showing a few that I have experience with. If you have any Has5 viable builds that you love and hold close to your heart, please share them in the comments section below. I'd love to hear about it. I'm sure it'd be helpful to other people who might be looking for the build that you're running. But that's about all I have for you today. As always, thank you for watching. If you'd like to catch me live, I stream over on Twitch. If you'd like to talk to me about how my builds are crap, you can find me in my community over on Discord. And as always, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.